Hey y'all, it's the one and only Zaria Shakira. Today I'm going to show you how to change roller skate wheels on my Chicago skates. So this video should be helpful for any skate, but I personally am not a fan of the wheels that came on these skates, so I will be changing them to some light blue silicone luminous wheels. I did take off the adjustable toe stopper and replace it with these white sure grip dance plugs or jam plugs, which you can find on Amazon. So the Chicago skates do come with its own skate tool. It's pretty basic, but it is fine for beginner skaters. I, however, did purchase the T-skate tool, which is similar to the Y3 skate tool off of Amazon. All of the products in this video were actually purchased through Amazon, including the skates. So these Chicago skates have a vinyl boot, an aluminum chassis, which is very important. It has adjustable toe stops, as I showed you earlier, adjustable trucks, and urethane wheels, which I'm actually not a fan of, which is why I will be switching them out today. The luminous wheels I bought were sold in a pack of 8 and did come with their own bearings and wheel cores already attached with a couple extra pieces and a mounting wrench. So I'm just showing you the extra bearings and wheel cores that they give you for replacement purposes. And these are some black washers that actually came with the T-skate tool, and I'm actually really thankful they did because I actually needed them for my wheels, and ironically the wheels did not come with any washers. I'll explain the purpose of those later in the video, but lastly is the mounting wrench that came with the wheels, and I'm just putting the pictures on the screen so you're not confused about which tools or pieces came with what if you're looking to purchase anything mentioned in this video. Now that we have everything we need, it's time to start switching out these wheels. Changing the wheel is actually very easy, so to take them off, I use my T-skate tool with the side that fits onto the nut, twisting it counterclockwise to loosen it and remove it. After I've taken off the wheel, you can see that it has a silver washer in between the nut and the wheel, and that basically separates the nut from the wheel so it can spin more smoothly, which is why I was glad the T-skate tool came with a set of black washers because the wheels did not. Now I just put one of the wheels on, then I add one of the black washers in between the wheel and the nut and screw the nut back on. It's really just that simple, but I was having a little bit of trouble screwing the nut back on, which I will explain shortly. But I changed all 4 wheels on my other boot correctly the night before I filmed this, and at the time of this video, it was the next morning. I wasn't fully awake, and I forgot one of the most important things about changing out these wheels. So after I struggled getting the nut to screw on, I took it upon myself to use the skate tool to tighten the nut even more. Honestly, I was confused at first because I didn't struggle this much putting on the wheels on my other boot, but once the wheel was on, I figured since it was still spinning that it was done correctly. So I moved on to my other wheel and literally repeated the same thing. I took off the old wheel and washer and replaced it with the new ones, again struggling to get the nut to screw back on. I pretty much forced the nut onto 2 of my wheels before referencing my other skate, then soon realizing why I was struggling so much. So soon after I realized what I did wrong, I tried to undo what I did and the nut was not coming off. Now when changing your wheels, specifically on this skate, you want to make sure when you're putting the nut back on to screw it, the ridges on the nut must be facing outward because that's how it came and it's the correct way. Just make sure you're paying attention to how the nut is screwed on your wheels before taking them off to change them. This is the same shoe. I just fixed one wheel and wanted to show the difference so no one else has this problem. I was putting the nut on backwards and basically it got stuck. So please just make sure you are putting on the pieces correctly and don't end up like me. So yeah, I use my other boot as a reference, just making sure as I'm putting on the wheels that the nut is on correctly and that the wheels are spinning and the nut is not too tight but not too loose either. Again, you want to put the wheel first, then the washer, then the nut, and make sure that the ridges on the nut is facing outwards, then tighten it with your skate tool or mounting wrench. As you're putting on each wheel, you can refer to the other wheels to make sure that they're on evenly. Mine were kind of loose simply because I didn't tighten the nut enough and I thought they were supposed to have a little more wiggle room to be able to spin with little effort, but that was not the case. So do make sure that the nut is tight but not too tight to where it can't loosen back up. At this point, all of my wheels were on and spinning, but the first back wheel I put on still wasn't budging. No matter how much I tried twisting the nut off, it still wasn't loosening, and that's because I put it on backwards. So I'm telling you and showing you this because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake I did. After minutes of trying, I basically gave up, but I wasn't terribly upset because it was just one wheel and it still spun. But being the Virgo I am, I didn't want to have one faulty wheel, so I kept trying, and at some point the nut finally came off and I was able to put the wheel on correctly. I didn't mention this because it's kind of common sense, but make sure you are putting the wheel on with the flat side against the boot and the rounded side on the outside. Again, with the nut, make sure that the side with the ridges is facing outward and the flat side is against the washer if you're purchasing these same skates. Also, just be sure to do some research in general before making decisions. Once the wheels are intact, if you're a beginner like me, all you need are some knee pads and elbow pads and you're ready to roll. So I just wanted to insert some clips at the skating rink just so you can see how my wheels roll. So I'm padding up first and then putting on my skates. These wheels are made for indoors and outdoors, but I will only be using these for indoor skating. One important rule about skating is that you don't use the same wheels for indoor and outdoor skating. You should have a separate pair of wheels for indoors and outdoors. Also, if I didn't mention, make sure that you always bring your skate tool with you just in case. One of my wheels actually did end up coming off because I didn't tighten the nuts like I should have, as I mentioned earlier. And with the wheels that I have, they won't light up like they should if the bearings or nuts aren't on properly. So since I had my skate tool with me, I was able to tighten my wheels and skate with no problem. I am still a beginner at roller skating, so this is really to document my progress, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video today and found it helpful. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel to keep up with my skating journey, and give this video a thumbs up and a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Let's roll, friends!